Okay, part two. I'm wearing glasses. Forgive the reflection. I am new to wearing glasses. I have old eyes now, so I don't know what I'm doing with wearing glasses. I've never worn glasses before. And I don't mean to babble about myself either. I can't stand when people do that. That's another thing with the videos. Stop blabbing about yourself. Well, you have to remember that I just did this and I farted and I just had something to eat and I just cooked some broccoli. And stop talking about yourself. Like, that's a thing that I notice in these videos. Like, people are becoming the cult of personality and stuff. Like, I mean, I guess I've done it. I tell people what I'm doing or what I'm up to or whatever, but I try not to be too revealing about my own life or my personality or whatever. Like, it's not about me. It's about a common cause. So anybody that talks about themselves too much and, like, wastes a lot of fucking bullshit time on them and what they're doing and what their family's doing. I mean, if I hear anyone on any video, regardless of the content, talk about what they're doing and what, like, a cooking show, if it's too much about the bitch's family and, like, her kids in the house, gotta go. Can I just have the recipe, please? Like, I don't have time for this. I don't. Like, I want information going from point A to point B. Like, I don't have time for, like, your life. I have my own life. I mean, some of us do have functional narcissism here. We will fucking be full of ourselves, but for a good cause. Okay, so let me find this video. Okay, found it. All right. So, but by the way, don't let my age put you off from this video. All right? My back hurts. I'm old. Don't. And I have to carry a backpack again, which I thought I stopped doing. Anyway, so don't let my age put you off. And don't let that be the deciding factor when you listen to me either. Like I said, everyone brings something to the table, right? That's how we have to look at it. So if you're younger and you can't relate to me, don't even pay attention to the way I look on camera. I've tried to make myself look as appealing as possible, but, it's about what I'm saying and the content of what I'm saying. You guys need to focus on the right things. Here's the stupid video that's ridiculous. Whoever's work this is, I don't want to hear it. I don't know how the internet works nowadays. Nobody ever used to give a shit if people talked about other people's stuff. I don't have time. If you want to make a comment, copyright infringement, whatever, I just don't. I can't deal with it. Go ahead. What are you going to do? Take away my cardboard box in the doorway? What are you going to do? Take away my storage? Good luck. Great. Anyway, I just don't give a damn. Because to me, this is like information. And I'm giving it to you watching and pointing out, like, what is wrong with it. I don't have time for other stuff. So this video it's called The Gang Stalking of Targeted Individuals. Maybe you can look it up. I don't know this person. I don't even know how to use the camera. It's probably backwards, which is not what I wanted, but I don't care. Anyway, if it's backwards, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to fix it. The Gang Stalking of Targeted Individuals. Cryptid Candy. Okay, so let's start this out. And first you can hear, this is the number one thing that's right there, the music. Is that necessary? Like, and the pictures, like the graphics and stuff. Oh, music. Creepy faces. See the creepy faces? The creepy faces have so much to do with how we... The creepy faces, that has to do with everything that I have to deal with in my daily life. Okay, I'm going to make this big so you can see it. It's not supposed to be a horror movie. It's supposed to be an informational thing, like educational and informational, to tell people, like, how to deal with the situation they're in. I don't know where the drama is coming from, but believe me, there's more than enough drama in this situation to begin with, within our families and within the people at work or out in the street or whatever it is. And, the negligence that goes on with passive gang stalking when you try to get health care, especially if you get older, they're trying to get rid of you with total negligence. There's enough drama with, like I mentioned, the Every time you move into a new place, you get the great, awesome person upstairs moving out, and you get the noisy neighbor. We all know that one. So home invasions, fun stuff. That's enough drama. I don't need Halloween Part 17 or whatever it is. Okay, here we go.
Psychiatric evaluation immediately. Not a doc, but symptoms sound like paranoid schizophrenia. Best have him checked and treated. User Charming Roof 7990 makes a concerning post on r/mental health Philippines. Spouse thinks he's being targeted. My husband, 32.
What is with the video of the house in pink? What is?
It's really annoying because he can't go one day without.
Okay. All right. Just right here. Okay. The biggest problem with this that I have with this, as someone that's been doing activism for a really long time, we need to focus on what's being said by the narrator and what he's trying to point out about whatever thread he's talking about the guy saying that his partner thinks he's targeted and that's why he's potentially nuts and he's concerned, right? Okay? We don't need the music in the background convoluting what they're saying or the content. And we certainly don't need these crazy pictures of colors and some video of someone's house or something. It just confuses the issue. What's important is getting information from point A to point B, delivering the information, getting it into people's heads, getting them to think a certain way, if they want to, if they're interested in this. This is only going to confuse people, and it's going to scare people, and it's going to discredit people, us, and it's going to discredit the whole movement, and it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of effort. You need to just point out that, hey, there's people that are targeted and their spouse thinks that they're nuts, and then they have to make some choices. Do they work with the targeted individual theory and continue to work with it? Telling their spouse, I'm targeted, you don't like it, too bad. You can either leave, you can move on, you can find someone else who you can discuss this stuff with and get with them, you can be alone, or you can retract your statement and stay with your spouse and just keep it from them. Lots of people lead double lives. Secret Service agents do it. Police do it. Lots of other kinds of people do it. People that work in dangerous jobs do it. People that work, I don't know, people have jobs where they have to be a different person at work is what I'm saying, or they have to hide what goes on from their significant other. Or people have affairs, or people have a drinking problem, whatever it is, then who says that you can't hide your personal life from your spouse? You don't need to go telling them. That's a piece of advice. Why don't you try to find like-minded people or people that are trained to understand this stuff before you go telling your spouse? You don't know, in theory, you don't know where that person is at, in these games, if you will. Right? You don't know if they're compromised, if they can be compromised eventually. You don't know if they're a handler. You don't know. It's very complicated. Okay? Well, duh. Yeah. Of course. Yes, people are going to go around saying that someone is nuts and they're concerned. That's why you have to be careful who you talk to. But do we need to portray it as being really scary? Probably not. It's just one of the pitfalls of being new to this information. You might do the wrong thing or say something to the wrong person. Eventually, people would work with this theory and then maybe they would come out of it and realize I'm not targeted. Maybe they think they're gang stalking targets and they realize they're just targeted at work with the workplace mobbing I mentioned, and when they leave the job, their life goes back to normal. Maybe they get cyber targeted by some creepy group in their neighborhood and they don't want them to live there. They move, everything's fine. Do you know what I'm saying? Or they know too much about something in a certain city, they stepped on the wrong toes, they move, they're fine. And it turns out they're not a gang stalking target. They were targeted for some other fucking reason that's much easier to deal with and is temporary, right? But you have to decide who you should reveal the information to begin with. I wouldn't go telling my spouse about this stuff unless I thought the person was on the same page. I would go talking to a lawyer. I would go talking to, unofficially, to people in some kind of law enforcement that, I don't know, like maybe if you know somebody, but the thing is that if you're hip to the way things actually work, you're not going to get targeted probably anyway, or if you do, you're going to watch out for it, whatever it is. I had one targeted individual, I won't reveal their name, tell me that a person approached them in a hospital and said that the system, if you will, they just wanted them to learn how the world really works. In their minds, and this person's a perp, right? They're telling this other person who told me this scenario that a person approached them and said that the gang stalking system wants them to learn how the world really works. So in their minds, this is how the world really works. And unfortunately, maybe it is, as far as like if you step on the wrong toes or get in the wrong side of something or whatever. I think The Dogs of War by Pink Floyd, right? I mean, that's kind of what that's about. You know, again, it's all theory. The point is that you have to find effective ways to get around this stuff if you want to survive and have any life. That, what I just mentioned, is a very serious issue. Who should I talk to? Who should I reveal the information to? How should I deal with this when I first figure out what's happening to me? Okay, I don't think it requires this kind of attention. It's just a pitfall of a newly targeted person, someone discovering they're targeted, and it's not that dramatic, and we certainly don't need all this crap confusing people. Let's move on.
8-year-old female is gang stalking him.
Let's move on.
Schizophrenic experiences, and even kill. You'll often hear targeted individuals refer to something called voice-to-skull messaging, or by its acronym, V2K. Voice-to-skull technology can cause victims to hear voices and other audio inside of their own head.
Okay, so the problem with this is that, again, scary pictures that have nothing to do. It would be better if he had a diagram, which does exist, like people like I mentioned, Eleanor White and other people that actually had engineering degrees and science type people. They would actually provide the U.S. Patent Office patent for V2K. It was like a patent or something like that. So there's all these patents and all this classified, declassified, classified stuff about how this technology is feasible that it might exist, because there's these patents that lead you to believe, well, that you can use deduction to think, well, if somebody tried to patent something similar 50 years ago, the feasibility of such technology being in the works, say in the private sector, is probably pretty high. It's just theorizing. It's just a hypothesis if someone is educated and informed. The problem is he's bringing it down to this really amateur level. He would have been better off if he showed us diagrams of the patents instead of scary pictures. Red flag number one. The other thing is that he shouldn't be doing a video. Whoever made this, the author shouldn't be doing a video about mind control technologies, which is like a whole other thing. Because not everybody who is a targeted individual who's gang stalked and harassed gets like the technology part of it, the chemical influence part of it, like people that are targeted individuals. Some people just deal with people fucking with them outside, and some people just deal with having a noisy neighbor and bad luck. Some people don't even deal with this other stuff. Like this is a whole, like I have a blog on gang stalking, right? But I have like a whole other blog on like stuff like this, because it's like a whole other issue. Because then you're dealing with claims that are a little bit more unbelievable to the public, and then you get into like, is it technology? Is the person dosed with drugs? Like bad things happening to them because of somebody dosed something in their food, which can happen. That's spycraft, right? That's an old spycraft trick, poisoning people, dosing people. Is the person, the high-level survivors of MK Ultra? That's a whole other kind of mind control, whatever. Mind control, slavery, programming. That's very, very complicated, and each one of those subject matters needs like its own video, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, instead of, saying all targeted individuals make claims that they're hit with V2K. I mean, I don't think I've ever claimed to be hit with V2K like in my whole life. I know people that have, and there are people that have money in the bank and they had lives at one point and they're credible. And the kind of jobs they had actually would make sense that they would get targeted. But are their claims real? I don't know. The point is that that's a whole other thing. So this is scary to me because the person's just like putting all these scary faces on here, making us look ridiculous, saying all TIs do this and all TIs do that. Okay, again, that's not good either.
Completely inaudible to anyone else.
Okay, enough.
Similar symptoms: dizziness, accelerated heart rate. I was terrified. I knew I would. That's caused the voices in your head.
Okay, now we're talking about implants.
There is no shortage of disturbing photo and video evidence. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Most of it really isn't evidence. Most of it is just targeted individuals walking up to random people and accusing them of being perps.
Okay, this is talking about in the old days, a lot of people simply had cameras. We didn't have the technology we have now. And what they would do is they would run around and like be in their car. And there's so many of these videos, and we mostly just discredited them back then. Like, people would be in a car and they would look at someone else in another car and they would point the camera towards that person in their car and they go, "Oh, you're a perp. And what are you doing perping me?" In other words, if I was in a courtroom and if I was, or a forensic examiner, or if I was like some kind of person working in criminal sciences or whatever, I wouldn't be able to see a crime committed. Like, it just looks as if you're nuts and you're harassing somebody with a camera. Or it could be that someone did something and you weren't fast on the draw and you didn't get them doing it fast enough. Or the person's doing something that only you are aware of. And that thing does exist, but it's like, again, another subject matter. Like, people can get you anchored to certain gestures, like physical gestures, and repeat them over and over and over again. That's based on Pavlovian psychology, the abuse of Pavlovian psychology. Remember, theoretically, the people that come up with these designs for the targeted individual are really smart. And, they know how psychology works, unlike I know how my phone works. They know how psychology works. They know how, you have a psychological, just like COINTELPRO, like the old COINTELPRO system, where they would look at your psychological profile and see if they thought that you were a prime candidate for recruitment. And that's not conspiracy theory. I have a video from a early civil rights cable access TV show where an old Black Panther guy puts a video on of this other African American gentleman who used to be COINTELPRO, and he tells about how they got him to do it. He made a mistake and he didn't want to pay the price, and he became a COINTELPRO spy. And that's how they did it. They looked at his psychological profile and realized that he was the kind of person who probably would give in. So this is to me, it's feasible that would also be used for targeting someone if you want to drive them nuts or silence them or discredit them or whatever. This is the kind of thinking, you see how I'm thinking logically? Not like this, with these claims. It is true that the videos in the old days just look like somebody going up to someone, harassing them with the camera. And that's why we never paid attention to them. See, that's what's wrong with this. This person is not in the TI community. They're not discussing with other TIs. They're alone making a narrative video about all TIs. Why don't you let the TIs speak for themselves? He does, but in a way it's like, it's not a discussion. It's not a debate among people in the know. It's him making a video, making a judgment. It doesn't even have a purpose. Like in the TI community, I can tell you that we used to disregard those videos because they're useless. You can't catch somebody committing a crime. The video is useless. Erase it, delete it. There's no point in it. Or like putting it forward as evidence just discredits us all. You know what I mean? So we would just disregard those. They would just, dude, I don't want to see your video. Or you need to stop making videos like that because you're just harassing people. This is like age-old information that he's recycling, that in the TI community, we, for years, have known better than to even entertain the validity of those videos of people like going up to people, you're a perp. And, you know, a lot of these people, they're not as bright as other TIs. They're confused or they're misinformed by handlers or bad information. And they take information and they run with it, like a dog takes a bone and runs with it. And it's not good. Like there's one video that's coming up where the person has a camera and they're sitting there with the camera filming someone going, there's a satanic perp right there. Well, what leads you to believe that he's satanic, and what leads you to believe that he's a perp? And can you show me to prove that that's true? Like that's the problem, is claims with no evidence. You can come up with theories about how people are doing things to you, or that you're targeted or you're oppressed and what they're doing to you is unconstitutional and illegal and takes away your constitutional rights, human rights, civil rights, but that doesn't mean that you have proof. And you can't just going around accusing people. And not only does it discredit us, it raises your blood pressure. It takes minutes and years off of your life, because remember, that is the main point. Jails, institutions, or death, and slow kill through stress, daily stress. And not having a life. Who wants to go around with a camera accusing people of doing stuff? It gets pretty boring, doesn't it? That should not be how you make yourself feel better about stuff. And it's totally counterproductive. So don't do it. I mean, you can take videos if you're going to get something. Just be real quiet about it. Also, you might be breaking laws. You have to remember, some states don't allow random filming of people, like especially audio. Like I live in a 2-party consent state. Anything that I have ever recorded is not admissible in any courtroom. If I had an incident where I got something on audio and there was something where I went to a lawyer and there was a case or something like that, whether I'm on the defense or the other side, I could show it to the lawyer and go, see what happened, see what really happened. Not admissible in court. Okay, you have to start thinking like you're in a courtroom. And I have actually done a video of really abusive security once or twice. Like we're talking about outrageous. Around 2017, 18, it was like off the hook. It was off the wall. Outrageous abuse of power in some like stores and stuff. And I just went right to corporate. I went right to the district manager and the manager, and they were like, oh my God, we're so sorry. They didn't even penalize me for breaking the law, recording audio and video, because they wanted to see the behavior of the employees. And they put a stop to it right away. People got fired and everything. But you can't just go doing that to random people that you just walk up to and they're just doing nothing. You might be breaking laws, and people could actually have you get in trouble. They could charge you, or they could sue you because you're using audio, video, or whatever the hell it is. Like, I don't know if posting it on YouTube is a legal issue. Ask a lawyer before you do this crap, okay? Because believe me, they want to get you in trouble. They want you to go doing this crazy shit so that we look crazy, you look crazy, you waste your time, and you're wasting your fucking life. You're wasting your life fucking around with some guy in a pickup truck. Who cares if he's a perp? Like, who gives a shit? Like, the point is that, like, you either catch him or you don't. And what are you going around with a camera, driving around trying to catch people do shit? Like, doing stuff. Like, you want to catch people doing outrageous shit. And then you want to use the legal system to get them in trouble because they're actually doing harassment to you that you can prove. That won't stop the next place. That won't stop the next person. But if you collect enough evidence that's realistic, you could have 10 years of ridiculous fucking instances, and you go, okay, I have 10 years of absolutely ridiculous situations where you can plainly see that it's like fucked up, right? Why is this keep happening to me? Then you have a pattern, right? You have a pattern of, this is fucking real. Why does this keep happening to me and not Joe Blow in the corner over there? Like, why not that person? Why, what? Because then it becomes about feasibility, and it becomes about like odds and like stats and stuff that actually makes sense. For instance, what is the probability? Think trips to Vegas, right? What is the probability of one person getting like treated like shit so many times at the doctor's office, or like different doctor's offices, or getting fucked with by security in like random stores every single fucking time in a way that's so overt and outrageous? Like, what is the chances of that one person continuing to have bad luck? See, in the old days, they would call it bad luck. They tried to call it bad luck. Now they're trying to say that you're nuts. Just like electromagnetic pollution. Remember, way back in the day when they were working, when they had people working with those big radars, they would call it microwave sickness, which means that every human being, it's not good for any human being. That technology makes humans sick. Then, once we got all the communications and all the towers, and we got all of the electromagnetic pollution out there, well, now, in Europe at least, it's the individual. They have electromagnetic sensitivity disorder. So it's the person. It's not that microwave makes mammals sick. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're blaming the person and singling them out instead of the technology being the problem for all living things. Again, mind fucking comes in all kinds of different, and don't let them do it to you. Okay. Because they do it to everybody, not just you and I, every day. The powers that be. Okay. So.
Short for perpetrators.
Here's a freaking satanic perp right here.
There's the guy.
You know what you're doing?
You know who you are, right? Yeah, you do. You know exactly who I am. Fuck. Yeah, see how they play dumb? Fuck. Right? They play dumb, right? You know exactly where I live. You know exactly who I am. Yeah, I know you don't. Look at this. You see this shit?
Where do you live?
You see this side, guys? Look at them all. How many more cars you need to see? Eh? Look at them all. You see this shit, though? There it is, right?
Bad form. Bad form, people. You can't go around doing that, okay? If you want to, you can, but I don't agree with it. The thing about that last video with the cars, you gotta remember, the guy making the video might actually be a disinformation agent. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that you need to look at this with critical thinking, right? Like, I don't know that guy. I don't know his situation. I don't know what the deal is. I would have to investigate. I would have to talk to him. I would have to ask him what the full situation was. Excuse me. I have ulcers nowadays, just because of everything. I'm old and I have ulcers. See what doing the right thing gets you and being ethical. So I would have to know his situation. I would have to do a full investigation. I would have to know who was involved, what exactly happened. That is like taken out of context. It's pre-recorded light and sound taken in a timeline that I don't know the whole story. How the fuck am I supposed to know what's happening there? Also, for all we know, the guy making the video is the bad guy, and the guy who's like sitting there like being filmed, how do you know he's not the fucking target? Like, we don't know that, right? Like, I don't know that. So that's the problem with that video, is that we don't know like who the perp is. We don't know who the bad guys are. We don't know who is involved. We don't know who is who. Because it's just some guy going up, screaming at someone, going, you know what the fuck you're doing. You're a fucking motherfucking sick perp motherfucker. It's like, that's not very convincing. It's bad form. It's really stupid. It's a waste of time. And you sound like a creep. It sounds like almost like that guy is the perp, like the gang stalking perp. Like, and if somebody is perping you, don't show aggression. Because that's what they want, okay? You have to understand something. People... The theory goes that people are gang stalking perpetrators not just because for practical reasons, like not just because like they need something or they want something or it's mutual protection for a group of sick dumb fucks, okay? There's also a personal component I've noticed, okay? There's a component of like, if they come after women, they're woman beaters. They don't like women. They like to pick on women. They get off on picking on women. If you're a guy and you don't like gay men and you're threatened by them for some reason, they'll send gays after you to fuck with you. They'll find out whatever your weak spot is, right? Which is warfare. That makes sense, right? But they get off on it. And when I was younger, when the system was post 9/11, it was a little bit kinder, gentler gang stalking. Now it's like fucking East German Stasi, for God's sake. But in theory, of course. But back then, we were all younger too. Like these people were our age, a lot of them and stuff. And so it wasn't always warfare. It was like sometimes you'd fraternize with them or they'd talk to you and stuff. A lot of them have stalking behaviors. As in, like, I stalk my girlfriend regularly, or I stalk guys, or, like, I stalk guys I'm interested in. Like, one girl actually took me to a guy's house and sat outside his house. Okay, stalking, like, some guy that she was interested in. They have stalking behaviors to begin with. So, like, they're good at this stuff because they do it in their personal lives. Or someday I'll talk about the kinds of perps that me and other people allegedly, in theory, have seen. The bottom of the barrel of humanity. They don't do that much anymore because there's cameras everywhere. But some of just Skinners and just bad people that they just let loose. And that makes sense because that's what intelligence services do over in other countries where legally they're allowed to operate in this capacity, not domestically. They'll go to a jail of an enemy of the enemy, or they'll go to a jail in that occupied territory and they'll say, okay, like they'll go to the jail of the place that they're trying to be fighting for against an enemy or an enemy of enemy, and they'll go, look, give us your sickest, most twisted, fucked up individuals, psychopaths, child rapists, fucking Skinners, fucking murderers, serial killers, just hell, right? As defined the way we know it, right? Just worse people. And you go to them, you go, hey, how'd you like to have your freedom? How'd you like to get out of jail? And how would you like to get paid? You can go out and fucking have a field day. Be as fucked up as you want. Just you have to do it over there to those people. And that's what they do. They go to the jails and they release all the most fucked up people and they let them loose on the enemy. And they use these people as part of warfare on the enemy. Like, so it's feasible that if somebody had like the same idea, they might do it here, right? Thinking about that's feasible, people do it that way, why not do it here if that was your plan? Like, I don't know who that would be doing it, but if you want to win, well, that's a really good system, actually. If I wanted to win and I had money and power, I might do that, right? Release all the scumbags on the enemy. Why would I do anything when I can just sit here and pay a bunch of fucking child rapists and Skinners and sick fucks to go out and like fuck with people? And they enjoy doing it. They enjoy doing it and they can get their jollies off. But that's like the worst case scenario. And people don't see that much anymore. That was like post 9/11 in the early years. Bad people, horrible human beings. And don't even get me started on the broken people that we've seen. Like, I don't know what they do to some of these people. Brain damage, fucked up people. Just, you have to remember, these are not good people. I don't want to mention like Pizzagate, right? Like, that's another video I have to make. Of course, there's elements of that are worthy of your attention. But the whole theory and calling it Pizzagate, to me, it's disinformation, okay? But you have to remember something. This shit has been going on as long as humanity has been going on. People are bad. They're evil. Humans are animals, okay? It takes effort to be human. And the only reason we have laws against murder in our modern world is from the Bible. They did have laws against murder in the pagan days, but they were very different. And in some countries, they're different than the Western countries, England and America, that we know about the way our laws are. It is natural for humans to hate. It is natural for humans to kill and to be greedy and evil. Okay? Think about it. You're a simian, like a monkey. That's the closest genetic relative we have. Except somehow we have like a God spark, and we have a highly developed cerebrum, which makes childbirth really horrible for women, right? Compared to other animals. How we got that way, I'm not an anthropologist, right? It's an interesting debate, but I don't think any of us have time for it anymore. If you want to go watch that stupid show with the guy with the hair, with the alien show that actually doesn't really tell anybody anything, they just like provide entertainment, like with old conspiracy theories and old theories, great. But the point is that it takes effort to be human. And it depends on the way you're wired as well. I mean, some people are wired to have sympathy. They become doctors or something, or counselors. And some people are wired to be hateful and sadistic and psychopathic and violent. The best thing you could do is have a good upbringing, and maybe you become a sniper, or maybe you become a prosecutor in a courtroom, and then you have some use in some position in society. Everyone's wired differently. You know what I mean? But some people are fucked up. They like to stalk people, or they're bad people that like to stalk certain kinds of people to get off on it. And then they either can't pay their bills and they want stuff, or they're in trouble for something and they don't want to get exposed, or they don't want to do 30 days in jail for drinking a beer in the park. Believe me, I met them. They're idiots, and they don't have a backbone, and they don't have a moral compass, which is why you're supposed to be doing internet activism, not approaching people making trouble. There's enough of that already. Again, you have to be critical about the video. Who's the perp and who's the, what is that guy for real? Let's get back to this, right? So that was the bigger picture. This is about the video. Okay, we get it that a lot of these videos are not credible and they wouldn't pass in under an investigation in a court of law. Okay, we've known that for years.
There it is, guys.
There it is, guys.
That's not to say that there isn't some interesting, more so disturbing posts.
What is that? Is that where we all go when we die? What is this? What
A
does that
user
mean?
by the name Hopeful War 9584 makes an odd post on r/V2K Truth, a subreddit where self-described victims of voice-to-skull technology post their experiences and alleged evidence. Please, targets, look for these implants in your ears. These implants cause the voices in your head and mimic schizophrenia.
Again, where's the evidence? Okay, do you honestly believe that classified technology that's probably 50 years, it's always 50 years ahead of what the public know about? That's what I've heard years ago. I had no proof, but that's reasonable, and that's what I've heard. Sounds reasonable to me, right? Do you think that classified technology would be able to be detected by your average person, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would go, oh, look, it's an implant. Look, it's not earwax. Look what I found in my ear. And there'd be lawsuits because then they would like take the device and trace it to the manufacturer. So not buying it, again, you got to think. You got to use your brains. You got to make the crossover between this crazy covert warfare stuff that's insane and go, okay, how is this applied in the real world? Can there be a class action lawsuit? Can I go to a doctor and have him pull my implant out? And I'm saying implants don't exist, okay? Right? But it's if it does exist, like my thinking would be it's really sneaky and they're really tiny. And we all know that there's nanotechnology now. And that was probably happening 50 years ago. Imagine what the technology is like now. Like, you know, it's not going to be that big dumpy thing in your ear. Like, again, who's writing that? Where are they getting their sources from? And why is he even mentioning it? You know, it's almost like he doesn't know a lot about what's going on here. And also, I don't know if V2K operates that way. I've heard people that say they have V2K. I have no idea how it works. Instead of a random blog, why don't you talk to, like, I don't know, a scientist who's dropped out, who's hiding out in Mexico that can't come back to the country? They probably know. Why don't you talk to somebody that works in telecommunications or somebody that works with similar technology of like, okay, how would that work? Like, this is what I'm talking about. You have to ask experts, but none of the experts are going to tell you because A, they're not aware of classified technology, or B, they don't want to like screw up their careers and get targeted. Like, that's in theory, right? They don't want to get targeted themselves. They don't want somebody sitting outside their frickin' house in a car with their frickin' lights on all night long. They don't like for weeks on end going, what did I do? You know, the white vans and the black helicopters. Like, I don't even think they do that anymore. That was post 9/11. They don't want that. A lot of people are fully aware. They're not just the average common public, but people are aware that their careers are in trouble if they say anything about this crap. That's another thing. Like, you know, you're not going to find some average person that's going to go, yeah, this is how it works. Like, I don't know where you'd get the information. It's going to have to be from another maverick. So this is what? No proof. Again, just somebody going, oh, it's this, you know, causes this and causes that. No proof. It doesn't even sound reasonable either, so.
Link will be down below in the description of this video. There you... And some TIs, like Dr. Fasika Tafara, well, they go public.
When she'd get home from work, Fasika Tafara started noticing things out of place in her home.
No, they were just all open, but what was weird is, so for example, they were open like this, but they were all at the same level.
First, the windows, then lights turned on, her cabinets pulled out.
It's intended
It's
to
home
let me know that
invasion.
somebody has been here.
And it still gets creepier.
Then Tafara found
That's
this
the
small
least of it.
camera in her 11-year-old son's bedroom.
She took to the internet, where she became convinced that she was being targeted, and that she was the victim of gang stalking.
Tafara left her phone recording audio at her house. Listen, you can hear what sounds like people rummaging around. On one, you can hear what sounds like drilling.
Okay, so that is home invasion, like I spoke about. And that's pretty smart, what she did, which is she went public like I wouldn't, not nowadays, this is probably an old video. You could do that years ago, right? And you have a phone or a recording device, you leave it on. Nowadays we have cameras, Nest or whatever. You can leave it on, and even just leaving the phone running was smart because it shows that someone's coming into the house, right? Is anyone going to do anything about it? Maybe the landlord. That's it. You know what I mean? You get a guard dog, get cameras. You know, don't leave the house alone. I don't know. But this is just like one scenario. Home invasion. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. It's almost like like a dam. You plug up one hole, another one pops open, and it's I don't, it's very complicated. So this person is smart, and just by the way this is being presented, I think the person's genuine. But you see the difference between like that and acting crazy with a camera? Like, she had common sense, and she was actually recording something that, wow, what is that? And it might make someone question what is going on in that house.
So this whole here.
Sites can be problematic. I'm sure they mean well, but these bold allegations are speculative. We
It's true.
really don't know the true context behind those photos. Researchers describe gang stalking as a set of persecutory beliefs.
Very damaging.
This refers to persecutory delusions, which is a type of delusional disorder where the affected individual believes that harm will occur to them by a perpetrator despite a clear lack of evidence.
Okay, so let me clarify something about this. This is something new. All of this on the internet, you go on there now and it's like, it's persecutory and it's the person's sick and it's bullshit. And this is new, okay? This is new. Like years ago, Google would come up with blogs or people trying to get information out, or it would be treated more fairly. Okay, gang stalking would be treated like more fairly. Now it's like there's all these papers immediately that come up about gang stalking just being persecutory belief. But that's changing because that's a whole complicated other issue. A lot of the so-called credible organizations like National Institute of Health that decided to write these horrible articles with no evidence, no scientific method, none of it that's required, are now, they're all getting in trouble for like embezzlement, fraud with government funding. Again, there's the rule of thumb you want to look for. In trouble, can't handle your money, right? That's why you're a gang stalker. That's why you're a perp. Because when it comes down to it, it's always the same, is what I'm saying. When you come up with golden rules or like rules of thumb about like, you always end up discovering like, oh, there it is. There's the motive. And the motive would be that you're in trouble. The Jeffrey Epstein thing, I noticed after the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, you had so many academic sources of these papers from respectable so-called academic organizations and people writing about how gang stalking is bad and dangerous. And why would it be bad and dangerous? And what are you even bothering with us for? You didn't bother with us 10, 15 years ago during Obama or Bush. What are you bothering with us for now? In other words, why are all these papers coming out all at once after Jeffrey Epstein? Because Jeffrey Epstein liked to offer his services and the use of his island and all that stuff to people in colleges. You know what I mean? So you can kind of put a theory together about how the crime is being committed. These people are being dishonest. They're writing papers in order to like get out of trouble or not be exposed on the list or because someone's blackmailing them. All kinds of stuff can happen. And that could be the motive, right? Because I don't recall people writing papers like that before. Years ago, they wouldn't even touch us. They wouldn't even go near us. They wouldn't dare. Because anybody that had any self-respect in academia wouldn't even come near this issue, like with a 10-foot barge pole, because they knew that if they were wrong, their career was over. And they also knew, because they're educated and they function on that level, they know that something is going on. They just can't talk about it. So it was actually an act of humanity in the old days where people wouldn't come after us and say things like that. Oh, you're delusional. Well, okay. So if I'm rich and my family is trying to come after my inheritance by gaslighting me, you're going to say that I'm delusional right off the bat. Why don't you do an investigation? See, that's the thing. That's why you got to make certain moves a certain way in the beginning so you don't fall into the pitfalls. And then you can try to find out where you're targeted, and then you can try to find out how they come at you, and then you can try to find out counter moves, and then live your life and get around it. and find nice, normal, decent people, not compromised people.
This is why gang stalking is a difficult subject to tackle, because whether these experiences are due to mental illness, like researchers conclude, or whether
Researchers
something truly
conclude.
nefarious is happening.
Okay, mistake, right? Researchers conclude. How is a researcher doing any research at all? Because if they did research, they wouldn't be able to conclude it's mental illness at all. Because the data and the evidence would show otherwise. So there's no, again, this is just a badly done video. It's going to confuse a lot of newcomers.
Those he met. May had a girlfriend, friends, a successful career, and was well off financially. All seemed to be going well for him. So what changed?
In September, he told police he was being watched and observed. In October, May's ex-girlfriend said May told her he thought police were after him and were bugging his phone and car.
Seemingly out of nowhere, May began to believe that he was being, quote, watched by those around him. Ranging from neighbors to cars on the highway, even people grocery shopping at the same time as him. May's longtime friend, Jamar, spoke about one night in which May had asked him to accompany him to the local Walmart. May had complained about being, quote, followed, periodically turning to look over his shoulder. May's girlfriend at the time reports that May believed that there were cameras in their apartment tracking his every move. She also states that May one time went as far as sleeping fully clothed with a kitchen knife in his hand, fearing that the neighbors were, quote, up to no good. His friends, family, and girlfriend would all try to reassure him that he was not being watched and that he just needed to get some help. May would refuse their reassurance and claim that they were all just wrong about the situation.
Okay, what is this again, like, this is confusing, right? What is this video with little kids in chairs and different colors? Like, what does that have to do with the subject matter? It doesn't, and it's very confusing, and it makes it hard for people to understand what's going on. Like, you need to stop doing that, or don't. If you're watching videos like this, try to ignore it and just pay attention to the subject matter, because it's very confusing with all the colors and stuff and all of the distractions, if you will, you know.
By September 2014, it was clear that May was suffering from a mental condition of some kind, with Tallahassee psychotherapist Linda Miles believing that it was paranoid schizophrenia. May's behavior continued to escalate, with him alternating between brief moments of normality right back into a paranoid state. At one point, Myron May left his girlfriend a voicemail, claiming to have actually found a camera in his car. Hey Danielle, it's Myron. I just wanted you to know I found one of the cameras that was...
Again, drama, confusion. That is not the voice of the person he's speaking about in this storytelling. That's the narrator making a dramatic reenactment of the phone call, which is not good, because we're looking for evidence and we're looking for stuff that can illustrate that this stuff can happen to someone. It's not like, you know, this is not a great way to go after this, to portray this. The other problem is it depends on your upbringing, it depends on your genetics, it depends on what you know already and how you perceive things. I'm fortunate. I have relatives on both sides involved in organized crime. One of them is deceased now. This is Boston. This is just part of... It was described to me in Arizona. Where you come from, corruption is part of the system. And then could live my life in a better way, because then I realized, being from Boston, we're just in New York, it's normal to have, organized crime be part of the system, the legitimate system. So now you don't see it as much. It's hidden. I don't know what the deal is. Now it's globalism and the corporatocracy. But the thing is that being raised that way, working with this theory is a lot easier, because the way we were raised, it's perfectly normal. Intrigue is perfectly normal. Somebody getting whacked is just a daily occurrence, or like it's normal. Like, this is the way people do things. So there's a street smartness that some people have that helps them survive this. When you come from a town where people end up in cement shoes at the bottom of the Charles River, literally, to send a message, to make everybody afraid of the organized crime people, or it's nothing for one guy to call up another guy and, hey, can you store this body in the meat locker of this restaurant until I can get it rolled up in a rug and bring it to the garbage dump. In the old days, they had garbage dumps everywhere. And I'll put it in a car and crush it, and we'll send this little box with a dead guy in it to, like, Japan, because they want the metal over there to recycle. That's how they used to get rid of the bodies. Like, this was normal for us. This horrible thing, people think this is horrible, but to us, it's like, that's just the way they do business. Not that we approve of it, but we were raised as this being an open secret and completely normal. So now, when I'm dealing with this theory, it's not a big deal. It's not that I'm a psychopath or that I don't have feelings. It's just that we grew up with brutal, violent criminals being humanized in our daily lives. These are the people that would help our families out with a job. These are the people that would hand us money, hand our parents money for the babysitter. They did have sympathy. They did have heart. They were human beings. Okay, that's what's missing from the world today, is humanity, dignity, human dignity, okay? I mean, because in a way, like, they didn't have a choice. They were from bad environments, and the way they were wired, the upbringing was bad. And this is what they decided to do to create their empire. Creating an empire requires a lot of corruption and brutality and violence. Sorry, but again, like I said, the human condition is, unfortunately, mammals are violent. It takes effort to be human. And sometimes people won't put up with any crap, and they're sick of being oppressed, and they turn to crime. And some people become organized at it, okay? So, like, that being said, like where I'm from, this is not so shocking, okay? Boston's a bad place for exploitation of women, believe it or not. We were warned as kids, like, don't turn your back at a party, don't leave your drink anywhere, someone will put something in it and get you in a back room or the back of a car. You're a girl. This is common knowledge. It's common knowledge that you don't take a ride from a stranger, or you watch out for the guy in the van, okay? Like, it's common knowledge to be safe, and it's common knowledge that there are people out there who like to give girls drugs or knockouts in their drinks, and then they have cameras and they make videos. We were raised with this as being completely normal, because it's the city, and it's a big city, and it's a big Northeast city, or like the West Coast. It's a big city. People do fucked up things. So if I was Jamal, or whatever his name is, right, I would be like, okay, it's kind of along the lines of, like, organized crime, you pissed off the wrong person, whatever it is. Cameras in the house? Okay. So what? Either move or hire an expert to come and look for cameras in the house, because they know how to find them. And other than that, if you don't want to do that, then just say, okay, there's cameras in my house. That's what I believe on a daily basis. Don't keep telling people about it. And make some choices, is what I'm saying. Like, in other words, becoming paranoid, okay, becoming overly concerned, telling everybody about it. How is that going to change the situation? Like, in other words, my phone is right here. This may not be a good analogy, right? Somebody tells me my phone isn't right there, and I can't maybe see clearly, but I think it's right there. And they're claiming it's not, but I say that it is. Well, I have some choices to make. If that bothers me sitting there, or I need it to not sit there, I need to go, okay, I can either take my hand and move the phone, or I can leave it there and just deal with it. Make some choices. In other words, like, there's no need to lose your mind. There's no need to be paranoid. There's no need to go crazy. People do things like this. Humans do things like this. Organized crime, special ops, black ops, whatever it is, intelligence services, blah, 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 whatever. People might potentially put cameras in someone's house for whatever reason. Maybe you're a girl and you're hot and they want to fucking look at you, or some guy is fucking gay and you're a guy and they want to watch you or some shit. People are peeping toms, right? So who cares? Make choices. If you actually believe this is happening and there's enough other evidence and you're not just fucking losing your mind and you're not just going mental, which you might be, but if you think you're not, make a choice. Say, okay, there's cameras in my house. What am I going to do about it? If you have money, hire somebody to find them. Then again, that person might be compromised, right? And they might say there's no cameras when there is. Then hire someone else that is from a completely different place and maybe isn't compromised. And if they tell you there's no cameras in the house and you still think there is, you can move. In other words, do something about it. There's no need to upset everybody around you and lose. Just, I would keep it to myself and I would fucking just be like, okay, this is where Truman Show delusion comes from. Because people do put cameras in people's houses, like, for whatever the fucking reason is, surveillance, whatever it is. You could be the subject of a fucking investigation where they have some kind of warrant to do that, to watch you from across the street, or to fucking, and this is like the excuse, and it actually is gang stalking. There's all kinds of shit that people can do. And there's all kinds of sick fucking people that work in law enforcement, federal investigation, Homeland, fucking Interpol, you name it, okay? What are those people? Like the Pentagon, they've shown evidence of that with the kiddie porn fucking busts. What are you thinking, that these people don't do anything wrong? Everybody has something in their closet, and people are sick. They have positions of power, okay? It's not a big fucking deal. It's not. It really isn't. You have to live your life. You have to say, my life is more important than these bunch of fucks, okay? So, if you find that it's not just one thing, it's a bunch of weird shit going on, then just hack it into pieces. Like put it in sections and say, what am I going to do about this? Okay, my house, right? Cameras in my house. I can either get someone to come look at it, find the fucking camera, then if you find a camera and you document that evidence, you actually could get an investigator, or you could go to the law enforcement with a good lawyer that believes you, okay? Not by yourself. Don't ever approach police on any conditions. I'm not saying that because I'm anti-police. I'm saying it because law professors in colleges tell you to get a lawyer approaching, especially with that situation. So get a lawyer and go and march in there and with the evidence and go, what do I do now? Right? I found a camera in my house. And then if they dismiss it, problem solving. Okay? And if this stuff isn't real, if you take all of the appropriate measures to problem solve, if it is real, you can problem solve the problem, live your life, and move on and work around all these problems that you just did Jamal or whoever has in his life with being targeted. If it isn't real and you really are sad, having like a mental breakdown or something is wrong with your brain and doesn't work right, and you're having a problem and you're imagining things for whatever the reason is, eventually it'll become clear that it's not really happening. If you take all those steps, actually, his story actually sounds feasible. Okay, people that have mental illness talk in word salad. They don't make sense. They make claims that couldn't possibly be true. Like this one woman in this place, this women's shelter in California, in San Diego. I think she was fucking full of shit, doing it on purpose. But she actually was claiming she was a target, not outright, but like her claim was, oh, I can't get anything, I get refused for everything. And the staff was like believing her and stuff, right? And her claim was that she worked for the FBI and she was a lab technician for them. Okay, I might believe it. Okay, that might happen, that you might have seen something you're not supposed to see and you get knocked down. Okay, fine. But the other claim, the claims kept going like on and on and on and on. Like, then she was a spy, and then she was this, and then she was working for... So in other words, the claims became obviously progressively more outrageous, and nobody, like, even the most highly intelligent guy from Mensa, who has a punk rock band, and he's a brain surgeon, you know, and he has a punk rock band on the side, and he's a super genius, he doesn't have time to go doing like all that stuff, okay? Like, so she's full of shit, and she's either making it up so she can block out other real targeted people who end up in the horrible predicament of being homeless by pretending to be crazy and targeted, or she's genuinely seeking attention, some kind of mental illness, histrionic personality where you seek attention, drama. Okay, you have to learn discernment, okay? Like, you have to learn to see what is feasible. This situation with this guy, totally feasible. Do you have to freak out and get nervous and get scared and lose your mind and become sad? No. Okay, like I said, there's a solution. Cameras in the house. People fucking with you at Walmart, go to a different Walmart. Or go to a different store. Or bring somebody with you. Or learn to ignore them. Or learn counter tactics. I mean, so what? So people are fucking with you when you're shopping. Who cares? Let them fuck with you. Ignore them. Because they're gang stalking perps. In theory, theoretically, if you're working with the theory, they're gang stalking perps. And what do you do with them? You ignore them. They get annoying, potentially, right? But you just ignore them. Because you got to think to yourself, that person can't pay their bills. That person is fucking in trouble. That person, what did they do? Wow, they look totally normal. Well, when I was framed and they tried to put me into jail and they had all these like pre-trial, and they had all these like jailhouse snitches and people fucking with me thinking that would make me plead out and stuff, whatever. So, because they wanted to try to frame me, and the best thing to do is for me to be part of it by acting like I did it when I didn't do it, by breaking my will. Good luck with that. So, one girl looked totally normal, little Miss Pollyanna, blonde, and like really straight looking, right? She was in jail for 30 days or 60 days or something. She was drunk, driving down her car down the wrong way, one-way street, and almost killed somebody. You do not know what people are up to just by the way they look. Trust me, okay? Especially in the town I'm from. You do not know who is who. You could meet somebody in Harvard Square and or wherever there's a college or some elite, used to be old money, right? You could be talking to the great-grandson of like some guy that's on the internet, like that's a legacy person that's in a history book, you know, which is probably why they're tolerated by the college or whatever. But the thing is like, he may look like a complete fucking home bum because he either lost his mind or he has no cash and all his money is tied up in real estate or something. So it's like, you know, and he just is slumming it, or he went crazy, or he's a little crazy to begin with, or the whole family's crazy. You never know who you're talking to, and you don't know who you're dealing with. You never know who's who, and you never know what people do in their spare fucking time. So if you see people fucking with you in Walmart, they're assholes. They're compromised. The gang stalking theory goes that these people are fucked. They can't afford things and they want them. They don't want to do jail time for something stupid like the girl I mentioned. Or they don't want to get exposed for something that they would be doing a lot of jail time for. Bad things, okay? That they don't want their neighbors to know that they're up to. or other stuff that I don't know about, like private security company, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. Whatever, however that works. Hiring people, paying people. Or the unfortunate case of, I have heard that some people that are targeted, they actually proposition them. They make them into gang stalkers because they don't want to be targeted anymore. And some people just don't have the intelligence or the backbone or the resistance or whatever it is. Some people probably just give in because, like East Germany, read Stasi-Land, the book, they just want a normal life. And they don't want to be the target. So that's what you would do about the people in Walmart fucking with you. Fuck them. Just do your shopping and fucking just like whatever. And if it's not happening and it is delusion, eventually it'll get so bad that it'll become obvious to everybody and to you that it's fucking delusion, or to everybody around you. If it's just organized harassment of you in stores in your local area, fucking ignore them. And think in your head, what a loser, 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 loser. Think of them like if you play video games, which I don't, because I think they're bad for your brain. But if you play video games, I've seen people playing, I've watched people, right? Zombies, right? The zombies, like, they get in the way when you're trying to, like, you know, play the video game. You're trying to kill your targets, or you're trying to get to wherever you're going in those video games that make you, like, travel to some quest or something, right? The zombies, they're in the way. They're always in the way, in the way, in the way. They're not necessarily the target. They're not necessarily the thing you're fighting that's deadly, but they're just always in the way. And there are always so many of them. Think of them like that. The zombies. They're just incidental and they're in the way. You got to have a lot of self-confidence to survive this. You got to believe that you're not wrong. Their biggest weapon is to make you feel bad about yourself and to make you feel like you're wrong and you're a bad person. Why would you do that to yourself? You deserve to live and you deserve to have a life. From what I've discovered, they're fucking bad people. And they're fucking incompetent and stupid, and they can't pay their fucking bills, and they can't get things in life making an honest living, or even a fucking crooked one. They can't even be effective criminals. They're losers. Fucking losers. Okay? Or they're doing their job, they're paid. Some people I've met actually believe they're protecting the campus or something. You know, they actually believe they're doing something good. Then there's cause stalkers. That's another issue. They're religious people that believe you need to be saved and you need to become a Christian or whatever the hell it is. And those people are just so confusing. And again, they're force multipliers. I mean, they're kind of not doing things for the right reason anyway, but they're doing it because they're brainwashed. So you don't even know these people. You don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. And the likelihood of you seeing them ever again, that's a whole separate issue I'll go into when I sometimes you can see them again if you travel and it's a freak out, but that's a whole other issue. And that's in the old days when they used groups. The feasibility that you would see these people again it's just, you know. And if you do see them again, what most of us have discovered over the years is that they're scared to death of you. So they may be fucking with you on a bus or something, and then when you see them outside, you happen by happenstance, just by coincidence, genuine coincidence, not the claims that it's funny when they claim it's coincidence. Real coincidence, universal coincidence, real coincidence of the universe. Just real life happenstance that this person who was fucking with you, probably with a handle or watching them or watching out for them, watching their back, whatever, on a bus, the person's fucking with you, and then you see them in a whole other neighborhood away. Trust me, they are going to be scared to death of you. Because to them, it's a controlled situation. Do you know what I'm saying? The theory would be that they're not an actor. They're a person with a motive who's doing this because they're forced into it. because they want something or need something. And because, like I said, they have stalking behaviors, they're assholes, they like fucking with people. I've met people that have said to me right to their face that they enjoy fucking with people. Now, that's the perfect candidate for this job. So they're doing it on a bus. They feel safe. They're in a bubble. They're in a bubble. And always get into your enemy's head, right? They're in a bubble. They have a handler watching them. They feel safe. Then they see you like away from the protected situation. They're afraid of you. They're afraid you're going to do something to them. And that's the thing. If you ever thought you were delusional on that day that the person was fucking you with on the bus, wait until you see them in a whole other neighborhood and they look at you like, oh, I was right, because why would that person be afraid of me? The same person that was fucking me on the bus earlier, where there's probably handlers and fucking... These people are not actors. If they are, it's some kind of reasonable thing, like intelligence or something, or psyops or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I'm not claiming to know. I'm just saying it's something where they serve a purpose and they serve a job, military, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know, okay? But people that are doing it because they're in trouble and they enjoy doing it anyway, that's not acting. They're actually like paying the rent on their crimes. Like, it's like a payoff, but they get something out of it. If you do this, I'll give you a brand new truck, and people have seen this in person, in real life, as a payoff. I'll give you a brand new truck for $5,000. The dealership is in on it, and they give the person a super deal. You know, there's all kinds of ways of paying people off. This system is about crime. And also, another thing about gang stalkers is that they follow a lot of the same behaviors as actual criminals. They're lazy, they are predictable, they're not creative, they're not mercurial, they can't like spin and drop on a dime. They're not, that's why they do what they do, and there's so many of them. You're creative, you can drop on a dime. Which is why you have 500,000 fucking idiots a day fucking with you, because there's something about you, they're afraid of you, or it takes that many people to suppress you, whatever the fuck it is. Potentially, I'm not saying everyone's situation is like that, but potentially, in theory, right? Like feasibly. The other thing is that they don't like going out in bad weather, and that's another criminal thing. Criminals don't go out in the rain. They don't do things in bad weather. You never see them on 4th of July. You know, they like to go on vacation. These people are spoiled, rotten, desperate assholes. Excuse me. All right? Or they're doing it for reasons that they believe are heroic or moral. And they're the fucking ones that are delusional. So the next time you're like freaked out about people fucking with you in the store, first of all, read Stasi-Land. Some people have had to live like this in other countries in an open society like this, where this is normal. Okay? In our constitutional government, they couldn't afford to say that this is okay. And it's getting worse and worse because it's no longer a constitutional government. It's a corporatocracy and globalism. Anyway, point is that fuck the people at the fucking store. Go to a different store. And by the way, you need to learn to filter out the bad people. Fuck the jerk-offs that are fucking with you in the store. Find the one person who you can chat with about the weather who's nice in aisle 5. Go find the good people. The good people. They're out there. That's the thing. You've got to find the good people. You have to find the nice person that works at the store. The good person who's in the aisles. You know, you can't focus. That's what they want. They want attention. Fuck them. Fuck them. I give attention to me and people that I like and things I like. Fuck them with their bullshit. I'm not getting the fucking attention. That's another thing. Maybe they like attention. You ever think that they like the attention? They're psychic vampires. They're stealing your fucking energy. And what are you getting out of it? Like, what are you getting out of it? They're getting everything. And what are you getting out of it? Fuck them. Go to a different store. Find the good people. And ignore them. It's difficult, but there's methods you can use, right? Okay. The other thing is people fucking with you in stores. We covered that. Cameras in the house. Just do something about it. Either that or stay there and entertain them, I guess. I don't know. If you think someone's recording you, even in a car, or someone's recording you in a house or whatever, just do dumb shit. Like, start talking stupid shit. Like make up stories or something. Like, I don't usually lie, but if someone's gonna record me and be an asshole, just make shit up if you want to. I don't know. If you're uncomfortable, don't live there. It's a practical issue. It needs a practical solution. I forget the other issues that this guy had in his car. Okay, sell your fucking car. Have it scanned for bugs, and if they don't find anything, just buy a new car. Don't have a car, take the bus. You know, if you're targeted hard enough, it might require a lot of accommodation. It's like a disability. You need accommodation. Accommodate the issue. Practical problem solving. And that person's miserable. I feel bad for them. You know what I mean? Like, thinking people are following them and shit. Okay, let people follow you. I mean, the reason I'm targeted, in theory, the theory would be that my mother is a documented radiation experimentee. Both parents, U.S. military, my grandmother and my grandfather, U.S. Marines. They met in the Marines. My mother was given radium suppositories and radiation treatments to shrink her tonsils, which it did not. They grew back at a U.S. Army hospital in Waltham, Massachusetts, that's no longer there. Now, my mother went to try to be part of the class action lawsuit during Clinton, during the President's Advisory Committee. Should have been a military tribunal, by the way. What kind of little scam was that? But look who you're dealing with. You don't want to be on their kill list or anything and end up in a duffel bag in the bathtub with people claiming it's a suicide. If you don't know what I mean by that comment, look at the entertaining video of the Clinton death list. It's on, like, what is that, like, Conspire TV, which is turned into, like, Burrow, which is turned into, like, Truth Tide or something. Truth Tide. It's a very entertaining video. The Clinton death list or something. And I actually like Bill Clinton. I mean, we had fun during his presidency, right? But, you know, you can't control what people do. People are criminals. People are bad people. People do fucked up things. They have to fucking be on their deathbed dealing with it, not me, not you, right? I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Bush crime family. And people talk about all these, like, political people that are fucked up. How do you think you get into politics to begin? Look, make sense, okay? Grow up and make sense. Right? If you're dealing with this and you realize that you might be in trouble, the world has enough trouble for you, believe me. And people are trouble, okay? And people make trouble and people are troublesome. So, you know, you're going to have to start thinking in terms of how to make trouble for them or stay legal, right? Or how to handle it and how to not have trouble, you know? But don't be surprised. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. Maybe I have a better education in this crap being from where I'm from, where, like, organized crime violence is, like, normal and people do fucked up things to get what they want. It's just, to me, it's like, okay, you want to do X, Y, Z? I'll do X, Y, F, and J, and Z, and we'll do this. And you want to do that? I'll do this. And it's like a chess game. It's like, it's just a chess game. I look at it that way, because you're not going to, like, stop it, and you're not going to, keeping quiet about it and going crazy certainly is not what you should do. Your life has value. So that's how I would handle it. Don't be surprised. And just do something about it and handle every issue as if it were a practical problem and there's a solution. And just start to weed out the bad people and start to fucking find the good people. Separate the wheat from the chaff, like that saying, yes? That's all you have to do.
Was actually installed inside my vehicle. Like, I literally have the camera right here in my pocket.
Then go to the fucking authorities.
There are several officers around me right now trying to stop me. So I thought I'd just let you know, just in case they actually pull them off.
Now, this is another thing, right? leaving a voicemail for a spouse or a partner who's not on your side is not wise. I don't think it helps. You know what I mean? Also, I remember now, the guy said that he was sitting in his room fully clothed with a butcher knife. The neighbors are up to no good. Okay, you're getting crazy. Okay, you're getting crazy with it. There's no need to fucking start unraveling. Okay? But it depends on your psychological profile. It depends on what your past traumas are. It depends on how your brain works. You have to remember that. You have to remember that somebody somewhere has done a psychological profile. Maybe, in theory, the theory would go like that, and it would go that they know what your weaknesses are and how to drive you nuts. So you have to start thinking in terms of like how to face that and how to change it and how to know yourself and how to face your limitations and how to, like, for instance, some of us are creatures of habit and we like routine. Like, we live on routine for different reasons. Even the guy that made the COINTELPRO video that I spoke about earlier, the old Black Panther, the guy that was the COINTELPRO agent that was doing an expose interview saying, I was COINTELPRO and this is what I did. He mentioned in the video, he said, when we're targeting someone in COINTELPRO, the minute that you have routines and you get stuck in your routines, you're done for, because we will get you. I mean, he said that in the video, that's how they get people in COINTELPRO. They because they know what they're going to do. They're predictable, okay? And for anybody who's a creature of habit, they just thrive on that. Theoretically, of course. So, change up your routine. Find out what their MO is and fucking do something else. Counter moves, counter tactics, right? You're trying to build a system of defense. You're trying to build a castle with a moat, like in the old days, right? To protect yourself from the enemy. It's not that it's simple. It's hard, but it's what you have to do, because they're not going to like leave you alone unless you, I don't know, give them what they want, become discredited, whatever it is. I don't know. It depends on how hard you want to fight. It depends on you're a different person than other people, right? But getting crazy with it and sitting in your living room fully clothed because you think there's cameras with a butcher knife, now that's gonna look Fruit Loops, right? Okay, so you have to do something else. You have to say, okay, like I said, solve the problem. A butcher knife, can you tell me, like, realistically what good a butcher knife is going to do? They might have cameras in your house. Okay, maybe, right? But there's a lock on the door. And if you think that they have a key to the lock, then put chains and bolts when you get in. They can't get in there. Just do something that makes you feel safe. The other thing that I really have to stress about this situation, if you're working with the gang stalking theory, is that, like, if they wanted you dead, you would have been dead a long time ago. Because allegedly, supposedly, these people have access to locksmiths, they have access to weapons, chemicals, poisons, gases, microwave weapons. They can run you over in their car. I mean, all kinds of shit has been attempted with some TIs. Probably just to scare them. Behavior modification on steroids. If they wanted you dead, they would have killed you a long time ago. Killing people is easy. Do you know how much effort and money and human forces it takes to gang stalk someone? It's either human experimentation being continued, like my theory, right? MK Ultra connected to the radiation experiments. It gets taken over by a private contractor, like a military contractor, like Raytheon maybe, or BAE Systems. Who the hell knows, right? It could be anybody, okay? And then, as I was talking about my family member who tried to make claims with the President's Advisory Committee, she dropped it because she claims she was followed, okay? Now that's a different person, a different generation, a woman who was born into an era where she's terrified of men in uniform, the World War II fathers, terrified of male authority, pre-first wave feminism. I'm a different generation. I'm a different person. I'm genetically different. I have my dad's DNA. But you have to think about all this stuff. Who am I genetically? You have to think about what was my upbringing like. You're going to react different than... The theory is true that if you're targeted intergenerationally, and that's the theory you're working with, the theory is that they will try the same stuff on you that they tried on both parents, and they did that in Stasi in East Germany as well. And you can choose to react differently, or you might react differently. It's entertaining to watch them try stuff that they've done on other people. It doesn't work anyway. So if somebody followed me in a car, I'm a different person. I would probably just turn around and follow them in return and become aggressive. But that's me. You see what I mean? Like, she dropped her claim, for Christ's sake. And nowadays, now that she's older, she I forget, I don't remember, and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? People become afraid. They become old. And that's the other shame, okay, is that this is a hell of an epic saga that you're in. Think of it, you're a hero in a saga. Think of it that way, right? Why would you give up? I mean, it makes a hell of a blog. It makes a hell of a novel. I mean, even if you don't like what's happening, Jesus, write it down, for God's sake. And if you can't write, have someone else write it. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Try to sell it to Hollywood. I don't know. I mean, you cannot make this shit up. Jamal, whatever his name is. I mean, that's a hell of a story, okay? Don't waste it. Because they're wasting your fucking time anyway. Right, but going cray-cray and sitting on your floor with a knife, if they wanted you dead, you'd be dead, okay? That's one of the biggest things that all of us learn is that, and people say it to our face too, if they wanted you dead, you'd be dead. Like, because when you're in this system, you lose logic and you lose sense, and that's what they want. After 9/11, a lot of TIs have told me that the stuff that they used to do to them was very overt because there was no cameras on the phones. Remember I mentioned that earlier. They would come right up to you and say shit right to your face and start acting wacky and crazy. One person came up to somebody and said, "Don't go crazy." And it was like an old man that was a tradesman, like a plumber or something. It was like in the Midwest. And they were dancing in front of them in a parking lot, telling them not to go crazy. Dancing around, doing a crazy dance. That's unusual, bizarre behavior, and that's the thing. Years ago, it was much more bizarre behavior, and they want it to look crazy. Okay, they want it to look bizarre. They want it to look like a circus because they want you to lose your fucking hold on reality, and they want you to lose your mind, and they want you to fucking not know what the hell is happening to you. And that's why the internet activism is there. You might not know what's happening to you. You might believe what's happening to you. You might believe that everyone hates you, that your own family fucking hates you, that, life isn't worth living. A lot of people turn around and they, commit suicide because of this stuff. So anyway, there's my advice on everything that we've seen, right? And here's the problems with the videos that you've been seeing just parts of that video, okay? It's wonderful that they can bring you all this information about gang stalking. And it's wonderful that they can, provide you like cases of gang stalking, okay? But they're not pointing out logical like solutions or scenarios to this stuff. If you have an actual piece of a camera in your hand from your car, you need to get a lawyer and go to the law enforcement, okay? If you have cameras in your, all these things can be dealt with practically. Okay, and you don't need to go telling everybody about it either if you choose not to, okay? And so the video itself, however, dramatic reenactments, all those colors, all those weird film footages that have nothing to do with the subject matter. All of the stuff that like is noises in the background and funny music and dramatic music and weird effects. To me, that video could have been maybe 20 minutes, and it's like an hour or something. Let me see how long it is. Okay, the video is like, how long is it? The video is 1 hour. If you cut out all of that padding, the video could be just like 20 minutes, 25 minutes of smackdown, bang, 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 information for people to get it and like get it quickly and get it moving, because this is like a bad situation, okay? People want answers. I don't think they want to be entertained. I don't think they want to be frightened and scared. And I don't think they want to be confused. And it's irresponsible to make videos that are vague, that are full of all that padding, okay? Get to the, I should talk, right? But get to the point, okay? You want to give people useful information to survive, not, you know. And, you know, maybe at some point I'll go over like other stuff, like podcasts and other shit. And there's also other videos that are horrible disinformation videos that are terrible. They're obviously just really garbage and bad for people to watch. You know, not good. Like I said, you have to use discernment, or you're going to waste your time and you're going to end up like this poor guy. Okay, I don't even know. Let's see like how this ended for him. Like, I don't even know, right? Like,
me, because I have the camera and I'm bringing it to you. May appeared thin and disheveled in his appearance, claiming that he was being followed by, quote, 10 or 15 cops on his way over. Going on to accuse other patients in the waiting room of his girlfriend's workplace of, quote, following him. May later showed up at her house for the last time later that night, in which she begged him to get the help that he needs, but of course he would refuse again. By the time 911 was called, May was gone.
how? How did May go? Go how?
This all occurred after May resigned from his job, and it was reported that May had checked himself into the Mesilla Valley Hospital for a mental health evaluation, being released after only 4 days.
Only.
By late October, May decided to travel back to his hometown of Wawahitchka for unknown reasons. But after visiting family, May decided to seek refuge in the home of David and Abigail Taunton. The pair provided and managed residential homes for boys and girls and have provided shelter for what they estimate to be over 300 youths over the years. The couple had not seen May since high school until he showed up again at their doorstep in October of 2014. May spent time visiting his own family, friends, and the Tauntons, even attending their annual camping trip. David Taunton said that May appeared, quote, at peace but slightly stressed, as if he had things on his mind. By the third week of May's stay on their property, Abigail Taunton started seeing a change in May's personality. May claimed he was having trouble sleeping. Showed David a 15-minute long video detailing supposed government technology that he claimed was capable of spying on people, along with controlling their thoughts and actions. He also went on to...
Okay. Had enough, right? The video of like the car driving, you know, is that May's car? Is that the camera that he found in his car? Like, just, we don't have time for this, okay? You gotta tell the story, tell May's story. First of all, is that May? Is that his image? Is that him? It's all very confusing. I need to know who that person is. I need to see images that are real, not reenactments. And I need real information about that person, if that person is a TI, allegedly, right? Also, again, the only thing I can say about that situation, that's what will happen. He died, like, he's gone, right? Okay, so how did he go? Didn't even tell us how he died, all right? Didn't have to die. Didn't have to die at all, depending on his psychological profile, depending on his upbringing, what he understands about people, what he understands about, you know, the system of crime that exists in our world, the existence of bad people, desperate people, what is hidden from the public. He could have had some sort of existence, okay? The poor thing he got frightened to death. Whether he frightened himself or whether he was being frightened to death. And actually, a lot of the stuff that the guy is narrating, making it sound paranoid, if you're a gang stalking target, a lot of that shit is actually feasible. You know, I mean, why wouldn't it be? The point is that it's the way you deal with it. You know, it's not. It's a quick change. It's hard for some people to deal with it. You know, some people's minds have to expand slowly to accept new ideas. Some people can't handle this subject matter, even if they're targeted. And the best you can do for them, if you work with this theory and you have a very elastic type mind where you can think about a lot of theories and if they're possible, and like you watch a lot of sci-fi and stuff, okay, if you're able to accept potential theories of things being outlandish, all you can do is try to help other people whose minds are more rigid, and if they accepted that they were targeted fully, their minds would probably shatter. There's nothing you can do for them. They can come to a certain point where they understand that their life sucks. It sucks for them, and that people are mean to them and people are rude to them, unlike other people, and they always have a noisy neighbor upstairs wherever they go, and bad luck, and they get neglected, and the medical people neglect them, and their life is horrible, and it shouldn't be that way. And if you tried to tell them that they're targeted, and even to tell them a reason why, they just can't make that leap. It might be fear, it might be they were raised to be ashamed, whatever it is. Some people's minds just, they can't. Or they're trauma victims and the trauma is, or they're programmed or something, whatever the hell it is, they just can't do it. And all you can do is help them, working within the confines of what is mainstream and officially legally accepted as reality. Try to fix their health care for them, try to make people do their jobs, try to make sure people don't mistreat them, report people that do mistreat them. And that could have been done for this man. If he can't take care of it himself, then people around him could have taken care of it for him. If you're dealing with somebody like this, that's a whole other video. I'll make a whole other video on that. If you are dealing with a person who claims to be targeted. I have to go. This is my first video back. I don't think I like it. It's not even on the subject matter of videos. It's on the subject matter of the video. My first video in many years. So, take any advice you can out of it, okay? But as far as making videos goes, if you're trying to help the TI community, stop with the padding. Get the information out there and get it there quickly. Start being fair. Start providing more facts and more details about people and not drama. Okay? The other thing is stop with the music and all the distracting stuff. And if you're out there and you think you're targeted, and that's your theory you're working with, and you're going around with a camera trying to film people and confronting people, don't do that unless you really have evidence. And what are you going to get out of confronting someone anyway? Like, what could you possibly get out of it? Satisfaction? The satisfaction is going to be when you have a video of somebody actually doing something because you're being sneaky and filming them when they think you're not. That's the satisfaction moment, not, I know what you're doing to me, dude, and there's a satanic predator right there. It's ridiculous, and stop doing it. Because if you're doing it, I'm going to think you either haven't taken good advice here or you're like a disinformation person or something. So anyway, that's my video. I might edit this. I might do something else. I don't know. Again, As a disclaimer, I don't want to see any emails sent under my name like 2016. No emails will be sent by me or anybody associated with me. And if any emails are sent, you are to go through proper investigative methods. And if you don't, this time, you're going to lose your pension, your licenses, and I will sue the hell out of you. And I will get money this time. Lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. They tried to make it strike 3 times in the same place. Not smart. The other thing is it's all theory. I'm working with a theory. It is all theory. It's just a theory. Okay? To try to make life more livable. And if there is something going on, maybe when we're very old, they'll admit to it, but the damage is done already. A lot of people have either lost their lives, like that poor guy, or never allowed to live their lives. And this isn't such an unusual situation. Again, read the book Stasi-Land. Other people have had to live their whole lives like this in society, and it was perfectly normal. And people behaved the same exact way that they do in this society. They sell out so they can live normally. That's what they did in East Germany. And that's also a part of the good fight. It should not be happening to the extent that it is more and more in Western societies, which indicates that you're getting into an era of oppression and the surveillance state, and you're becoming enslaved instead of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.